Greetings and gratitude to all light forms and life workers who have found this discussion on extra-planetary, extra-dimensional, and extra-planar entities and their interaction with us. I have the guest today, powerful person known as Sara. Hello, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, friends. My name is Sara. I have had lifelong experiences with ET and interdimensional beings. I believe we all have, but I've been aware of it for quite some time. And this is a subject of great interest to me.
So we'll break it up into three subcategories. So we have the extra-planetary, the extra-dimensional, and the extra-planar. So the quick definition of how I define the difference: the extra-planetary are non-Earth entities that exist throughout the cosmos in different levels of development, some hostile and some kind and supportive and loving, anywhere through that spectrum. Then you have the multidimensional. These are most Earth entities from far future or far past that are so highly advanced they come, and we label them as aliens or extra dimensionals, even though they are from the same planet as we are. So they are Earth extra dimensionals. And then the extra-planar are entities from other realities so different that we cannot conceive them. They exist in our dimension and they do make contact from time to time. So we will begin the discussion with the first group, some non-Earth entities. I work very closely with the Arcturian Council, blue, powerful healing entities that are part of many caring groups and many different education councils throughout the cosmos. Basically, like the space ambulance are the ones I work with. And same with the Lyrans, the space felines. Is there any entity groups that you want to call out and have a discussion on?
Absolutely. So those two are very present in my experience as well. But the other most present group is the Syrian collective. And they themselves are almost a neutral entity. They can be anywhere between vile and helpful. So sometimes they do not have the best intentions. You have to be careful with the Syrians. You never know.
Well, this is true for any group. We refer to them based on a solar system. Lyra is huge. Arcturus is huge. There are many, many different Arcturians. There's many different Lyrans. Some of them will help you, and some of them will harness you, and some of them will lie and get you involved in hybriding programs. Just follow your intuition and, check which individual you are. Don't judge the group based on one individual, but don't judge the individual based on the whole group either.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And with the Syrians and I also feel connected to the Alpha Centauri, the Beta Zoids, and the Zeta Reticuli, the Alpha, Beta, and Zetas, and all of these different groups.
Zetas.
Yeah, any different group, understand that your connection with it is your own, and try to research other people, but don't label yourself bad because you are not having the exact experiences that Billy Mitchell, who saw the Pleiadians, had 40 years ago. You are not Billy Mitchell. Your Pleiadians are not the Pleiadians that interacted with that guy back then.
Yes, that's so important to understand too. So many people are hooked into the old research. They read about Pleiadians from back in the day, or they read about Zetas from the 50s, right? But what's missing is the modern context of what these groups are doing now, and in relation to our own ascension on this planet.
Yeah, and also what could have happened in the past might have been an isolated incident between one individual and this planet, which is not indicative for the entire collective of that group or the entire star system that we identify them as.
Yeah, because it's a really big area.
So The best thing advice with this is try not to think these entities in human Earth terms. They don't,
Hmm.
these don't apply to them. They don't operate the way we do here on Earth. Our own human representation of how to understand them is not going to apply. We should try to apply them as a more cosmic, are they alive? Okay, then so am I. That means we are the same. We may come from different worlds. Our bodies may be made of different materials. We may be at different levels of intelligence, but we both exist. And this is our common ground to begin our connection with.
Yes.
We all have
You
the
know,
stardust in our veins.
we're all made of star stuff, baby. You know,
So,
that totally connects to cosmic consciousness. Something many people on this planet are being exposed to now, right? So many people think the aliens, they're going to land. The government's going to tell us aliens are real, right? So many people are becoming aware of cosmic consciousness. We don't know how this is going to be revealed, but many of us are already in the know, right? But it's attaining cosmic consciousness, being aware of the universal intelligence that there is, instead of just being Earth-centric, thinking there's only intelligence here on Earth, when intelligence is universal, consciousness is universal, it's spread throughout the cosmos. There isn't just one point of concentration, right? It's
yes,
scattered.
and it's what I find is going from the difference between a Homo sapien, which is a Earth entity, into a Homo galacticus, which is a more cosmic entity. The priorities are different. Instead of focusing on reproduction and food, they focus on love, kindness, and service to others.
Wow.
So understand that some of these entities that we call non-Earth entities, they could look exactly like us. They could be humans, but they would most likely be Homo galacticus. Well, we are mostly Homo sapien, with some Homo galacticus sprinkled in.
That's
So,
heavy.
yeah, that's the information I'm receiving. So, when these entities come, some of them are going to look completely different than us, but a good portion of them are going to look almost identical to humans. But their level of human is human galactus, where we are human planetarius. So, anything else you want to say about the non Earth entities before we move on?
Yes, absolutely. So I've found that these, excuse me, non-Earth entities do tend to contact us in what we may consider a non-physical or uh, non-material way, right?
Corporeal.
A incorporeal fashion. Yeah, it's like many of these contacts happen in the visual cortex, in your third eye, in your mind, and in astral projection. Excuse me. And and they also can manifest in disguise. I wanted to bring up some Whitley Strieber, like Communion, where the man sees the ETs and they look like owls or wolves or other creatures, so that our brain can process their form. Otherwise, our brain will just wig out and we won't even see them. It was much like how you were saying, some of the ETs will appear as human. They'll look human. Similarly, ETs can appear as animals or some other odd manifestation, right?
Yeah. Clouds, too.
Clouds. The spaceship might be a cloud. It was funny. I saw a cloud where the vacuum, the empty space, was shaped like a perfect cube. And I
Wow.
was like, Borg cube?
No, the cosmic cube of all things.
Yeah, it had a
So
full-on cube
the
shape,
cube
not cloud.
is a hermetic symbol to all existence is a cube. God created all things with the mental cube. He rolled the dice, and that's the result.
Man, that's amazing. Yeah, I just want to mention that.
So,
Sometimes they appear as something else.
yes, and that's a good thing we can leave on for the extra-planetary entities. Don't believe that they have to be a certain way. Don't think that you saw something. There's no way that can be them. Just if you feel it, then it's real. You can tell your heart and your brain when they work in tandem. You can feel like, wow, I'm breaking the Earth veil. I'm finally part of the galactic community now. And I can feel that sometimes when certain individuals show up on my live chat. So know they're out there. You might see these entities at Starbucks, on buses or public transportation, or at marketplaces such as farmers markets and other communal marketplaces. They like to take human forms and walk around, but oftentimes they're going to look very different than all the other humans. So now we will move on to the extra-planar. I'm sorry, the extra-dimensional entities. So here on Earth, we function on the third dimension, which is very dense and dualistic. Some people are functioning more in the fourth dimension. We all do when we are asleep, but more people are seeing the realm of imagination, of angels and demons, of positive and negative battling in all conceivability. Then the fifth dimension is unity, all is one. Light prevails, love and kindness is supreme. This continues to the higher dimensions. We like to perceive these are the three dimensions that most humans can cognize, but there's a lot more than that. And these entities from dimensions we can't even perceive of, they are interested in what we're doing from changing from 3 to 5. They find this fascinating. So they show up. Some of them want to help us. Some of them want to hinder us. Some of them just want to watch. And I've witnessed a lot of these entities. Sometimes they're little sparks or dots or sounds or smells that you hear without any noticeable source. Like you're just sitting in your room and it smells like cinnamon. And you're like, why does it smell like cinnamon? And this is an extra-dimensional entity trying to communicate with you. They're sitting right next to you. They're probably looking right at you. You just can't see them because you're at a third dimension. They're at the 27th dimension. And the only thing they know how to do is to just send you the smell of cinnamon. So do you have any experiences like this?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. I have a lot of experiences like that. So these extra-dimensional beings can be so many different things, so many different sources, so many different manifestations. The other day, I had an apparition appear in my living room of a person I know. And then I encountered him in my dream as well. And it was very interesting because these interdimensional partitions or slices of ourselves can astral project, whether consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah.
And so you may see someone you know in a dream, and they may have actually been there. They might remember it. You may speak to them and say, wow, I had the same dream, because you were meeting in the astral plane.
Which is the fourth dimension.
Which is the fourth dimension, right? And when I have had, a lot of the time when I've had someone pay a visit, it's a sense, like, it's like a spidey sense, like you can feel it on the back of your neck. You just know somebody's there. You know somebody's watching you.
The spine tingles.
Yes, you get the tingles, and you know somebody's around. And it can be a person. It could be someone from the past. It could be someone from right now. It could be an entity that isn't a human. It could be so many different things. And many people ask, well, how do you identify it? How do you know if it's real? But I say, our understanding of real, material realness, is quite different than this fourth dimension. It's not real in the same sense. It is the world of thoughts and imagination, conception, but it is the framework of this reality. The things we do there are real, but in a different sense, in another dimension. So things you see in your dreams, or the entities who contact you, whether you're awake or asleep, they're giving you real information, but it might not match up with what's happening in 3D. It might be coming from a dimension far from this vibration, right? I've been having a lot of 5D interactions that manifest in 3D in a very negative fashion. It may appear, right, a destructive fashion, but it's coming from a 5D vibration. And because its intent is to unravel and reveal which needs to be revealed in order for you to take the step where you're trying to go. And your guides are helping you. These 4D, 5D, and up entities are helping guide that process. And when they communicate with you in many ways, various ways, whether it's you're hearing something, you're seeing something, you're feeling something, and the sensations, there's like real sensations, like you were saying, like light orbs, or you may even completely see something, like an apparition, an entire person is standing there, maybe. These things are all bits of information that you can interpret, right? It appears in the form that it does for a reason, specifically.
For you.
For yourself, so you can understand it, exactly. So when I have something as solid, huh?
Oh,
I was going to
just
say,
while we're on this topic is the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. He claims that on this planet there are reptile beings that can take the body of humans and manipulate the minds of humans so they can appear to be human, even though they have the face of a reptile. They are called forth from the darkest realms to Earth through blood ritual. And this is what is claimed in the Emerald Tablets. They will return and take over the elected officials and begin to enslave humanity. Whether or not this is true, which I cannot speak to at this video, understand that the multidimensionals are Earthers. They are Earthlings like you. They just come from a different part of Earth, a different vibration of Earth. Not all Earth is the surface. Some of the Earth is the inner Earth. And when these entities come, know that there are glamours, there are mental blocks placed, some positive and some negative. Some of them, they put these blocks so you can understand them better, so you don't get freaked out when you see a giant space lizard. And others, them, want to control and manipulate you by showing you positive things, mental projections. So just go from your heart and see from that vantage point. Because you are deeply loved and protected by the highest entities. They are the ones who will come in only because you are them. You are already there with them in the 27th millionth dimension as much as you were here on the third dimension. You just chose to come into this earth body to ground those other dimensions into the earth plane, is the lessons I have learned. Do you want to elaborate on this? Maybe not so much about the reptile.
Oh, man, but that reptilian is such an interesting subject.
Yeah, let's talk about the reptoids.
Let's go into that for a second.
Multi-dimensional reptoids.
Yes. It's so fascinating. You know, a lot of people do believe that our highest levels of government and finances have been already infiltrated by reptilian entities. They may act through human form, or they may be cleverly disguised like Cardassians, right? They may, who knows? Some of us think.
I tell you, I don't like keeping up with them.
Right?
Especially Chloe. I don't trust that Chloe Cardassian.
That's right. Screw them Cardis, right? But you know what? Here's the thing about it. So they may exist physically, they may exist interdimensionally or energetically. But here's what's really important about this. It's not about identifying the reptiles and pulling them out of the crowd, right? You're not trying to hunt down these reptilians. If you follow the basic principles, the teachings of these many great schools we've been discussing between Hermetism and other schools, you can identify whether or not they're a human, someone's ill intent, right? It doesn't matter if they're a reptile or a person, a human, or anything else. Their frequency is what we're looking at. Because a lot of people want to identify the reptiles and exterminate them. That's not the point, because they work in legion with humans as
Yeah,
well.
and like I said prior, some of the reptoids will encourage you by service to others, will give service to you, and some of them will lie to you, say they're doing service to others while they are doing service to self. So
Yeah.
not all the reptoids are here to hurt you, but not all of them are here to help you. Not all of the angels want you, not all of the demons want to hurt you. So just understand that if you think general, you're really doing a disservice to these races. Just like
Mm-hmm.
not all humans are good and not all humans are bad. Do you want every human to be judged based on one?
God, such an important message, because there's so much reptilian fear, and there's so much fear of this ET takeover. But my take on that is there's so many factions, not just human and different ET factions and different entities involved. There's so many forces tugging on this planet, fascinated by our ascension. No single group is going to take over, so to speak. It's a melting pot of aliens and beings from all over the cosmos, because the Earth is at a tipping point, a turning point, and it's caught their attention. You know,
Well,
so
here's something
in
to add
concert
to
to
this
that,
is both you and I
yes.
we know about the Starseed community. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the idea that these entities, either multidimensional or extraplanetary, they can take human form through incarnation. They can incarnate in a human body with the consciousness and the oversoul of the higher entity that they still always will be, but they chose to take a fraction of that consciousness and put it into a limited, bound flesh form to take the vibration of the planet from here to here, even though they started up here.
Yes,
And do you want to
absolutely.
talk more about so a star seed? You don't have to be. You can be an Earth star seed. You can be from the future or past of Earth star. You don't have to. You don't have to be a certain way. Many people say, "I'm a star seed. You're not, so I'm more superior than you." This is not the case. Everyone's a star seed. Everybody is. Our bodies are made of stardust.
Mm.
Can be proven with science. We have the dust of dead stars inside our blood, which makes it a plasma, like the star. The only reason why we're alive is because we have stardust, which turns our blood, allows our body to be in a plasma state. Plasma is the state of stars.
God, it's so profound. It relates to this great conjunction coming up where Saturn and Jupiter are going to be so closely aligned. They're going to create this illusion of a massive star, right? And the principle that we are made of stars, the principle that we are made of light, relates to the significance of receiving large blasts of light, right? Because it relates to our ascension. It accelerates and upgrades our genetic code and our spiritual code, because we are made of this stuff, and it's being sent to us even more so, and we're consciously seeing it and being made aware of it on a conscious level. Even those who do not study these principles, even those who many may say are asleep or unawakened, perhaps, although I don't like those terms, these are people who are not
Conscious.
cognitively, yeah, they're not consciously aware of it in their daily lives. They're still going to be affected by the very sight and vision of these major movements, like our
Yeah.
recent solar eclipse.
And your subconscious, it's still picking up information even if you don't realize it. So your subconscious
Exactly.
knows that you are probably the alien, but your conscious mind does not
We're
want to
seeing
believe
that
that.
code. Not at all. Yeah, we've been really alienated from aliens.
Yeah, well, that's going to be another video. We'll get back to that, friend. We can do a whole 2 hours about alienation from aliens.
Right? The grand alien conspiracy.
But is there anything else you want to talk about the extra dimensionals and your experience with them before we move on to the extra-planar?
Ooh, I'm feeling my brain blend between those two subjects. So I think what I'll do is I'll segue slightly. We have many channeled entities who may be interdimensional or interplanar, or both, perhaps, right?
Or all three?
Or all three. We're getting into a space where we've had famous channels like Jane Roberts. She channeled Seth, not the same Egyptian Seth entity, but a different Seth, who many would say, this entity, he is interdimensional, interplanar. He's a sort of a collective himself. And there's also other famous entities such as Cryon, and these beings,
Well, one of my
they
favorite is Bashar, and
Bashar's a good one too.
like Bashar is all three. So, but
He's also got
Bashar comes from
Rambo.
another planet, comes from another dimension, and comes from another plane.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And they will choose to reveal themselves through earthbound channels, through human beings who can then transcribe that information through speech or writing.
Or
Yeah,
illustrations or music or dance or yeah.
any creation. Yeah, music's a big one.
And well, let's do music as a transition because that's what really most of the extra planar entities I work with, you can identify them because their music is different from any music that is from this reality, from this universe. So oftentimes what I refer to as extra-planar are entity groups that come from outside of our known universal totality of existence. So our isolated little universe is what the first two groups would be lived in. But what I'm referring to as this third group is some entities that come outside of our universe, outside of our dimension sphere, of all of the dimensions overlapping. Outside of that is a whole nother totality of infinite. And those infinite have the technology to contact us in our own finite version of the infinite, which is our universe, the you that you are part of the vast verseness of. And I find that a lot of times these are us from other realities making contact with ourselves. And I have done a few meditations on this channel, and I will speak about being the self-saver, about having first contact now with yourself, and understanding that we are the alien. And when we meet the aliens, it's just the same. They are as alien to us as we are to them, but we are still the same. And do you want to talk more about these types of transconceivable entities, such as my buddy right
Oh,
here?
yes. Right? Oh my God. This immediately makes me think of the cosmic self. You and I have had quite a few experiences and have talked about the cosmic self. Like in my case, I have the cosmic Sara. She has contacted me from alternate realities, from mirror universes, from just other realms. It's the place you go when you take the psychedelic and you're in the center of the all
Yeah, when
and you
the
feel the
ego is
information.
stripped and you're just one with it all.
Yes, you're sitting within it because you are it. The cosmic self understands all the potential incarnations of you, which really is every incarnation possible, right?
Yeah, so when
Because
you
we're all
think
each other.
about your past lives, this is tapped into that.
Hmm.
When you set
And the
goals for the
fact that,
future, this is tapped into that.
yes, all tapped into this massive network. I mean, we know of the Akashic network, the grid around the planet. There's a multi-universal network that contains all of the information of all the realms and all of the existences.
And all of the
And
non-existences all together. Yeah.
ugh, this is so good.
So by you, audience member who has listened this far into this discussion on these very high level things, know that you are grounding this into the collective unconscious and consciousness of humans, of Earth humans. Everything that we learn is not just us, it shares to other people, even if we never tell them, because the collective conscious of humanity is connected. The collective consciousness of our universe is connected. The collective consciousness of all consciousness that ever can or ever have been or ever will be are all connected. So a higher conscious entity can easily show up on our plane in dreams, in art, in your food, in on the bus, in so many different forms, because they are us and we are them, and the echo between is free choice. So I find it, if you want to talk to an alien, I recommend get a mirror and start talking to yourself as the alien.
Wow, mirror work is so powerful.
And I find that person in the mirror is not you. It is your extra-planar self in the mirror plane, in the mirror dimension. Is not our reality. Is not our plane of causation. So when you look into the mirror, it's an illusion because that's not you. That's reversed you. That's not you. That's an optical trick created by light beams. There is nothing actually in the mirror. Your brain just makes you want to think there is. This is the same thing true for these extra-planar entities. They are real and not real at the same time. They are and aren't. You see the mirror, and to you it seems real, but to science, to actual math of the universe, it's not. But somehow you're connected to it. Somehow you feel drawn to you, even though it's not you. But it has to be you because it looks like you. It feels like you, but it's not. Do you want to talk more about this, Sarah?
Oh my God, that's fascinating on so many levels. Yeah, I've always gotten the sense that when you look into a mirror, there's a whole world in there, but like in physical reality, there isn't. It's just a reflection. But there's a lot of deep power, you could say, to mirror work. It reflects the conditions back to you, but also you can use mirrors to scry and seek deeper insights, right? Use reflections. That's essentially how we're using the details of the crystal ball or other tools like that. The reflection shows us things perhaps we don't normally see, you know, in the mirror universe, as one may call it. It does tap into that imaginary space. That's why I think, like children or when we were children, there's such a fascination with mirrors because we haven't been programmed to accept there's nothing in there quite yet, right? Because what it's doing, it's reflecting back into ourselves when we explore those corners of our own minds. And done a lot of mirror work recently, actually, to help embody my higher self. You can use it to tap into, because as we were saying before, like the cosmic Sara, I'm trying to tap into the greatest form of myself in this incarnation with the assistance in the pull or the attractor of higher beings or higher versions of self, which is me. It is me, right? Just another layer of self. And I find the mirror work to be extremely effective. And the way it's going to work for each person is going to be different. the way they're going to experience it is going to be different. They might not even see anything specifically with their eyes. Because a lot of people are looking for a visual sign, but it's really about what you take away from the experience, what you learn, and the insights that you have. You know.
So I got so much cosmic gratitude right now. So I will end what I have to say here, and I will let Sara finish it after this. So I work with channelers, as you have seen on my YouTube channel. I am a trance channeler. I go into a deep trance state. I let these entities, in which I have discussed here, into my body once I have built a relationship with this individual, and I allow them to communicate through my body. If it's the first group, the Extra-Planar individual, I go into their body, they go into mine. If it's a extra-dimensional entity, I go into their dimension and they come into mine. And if it's an extra-planar entity, I go to their plane of causation and they come into mine. I don't have any knowledge of what happens when this is in my body, so I record it and share it with other people. A friend of mine who is a channeler, I had an opportunity to talk to them while they were in a channel. This is a person who taught me how to do it the way I did. My question wasn't really a question. I wanted to express my gratitude to these entities for coming to talk to us, to, entity from whatever realm you are. I'm so grateful that you have shown up to talk to me and everyone who is here. Their response was, human, you should learn to accept our gratitude. You focus so much on being grateful for us. You don't think about the fact that we are grateful for you. Know that all of these entities are so grateful that we won't even be able to cognize with our brain because it will just explode. Their gratitude is so profound for us that our little gratitude for them is cute, to say the least. So understand that the amount of gratitude these entities are giving you by watching this video, by having the courage to even think about what we're saying, these entities are so grateful because you're changing the consciousness. You're changing that mass way of human thought. So that's my piece, and I'll leave the rest to Sara.
Oh, God, that is just so good. Yeah, basically, by understanding or even just contemplating these concepts, because it really isn't about belief. It isn't really about, oh, is this real, this or that. Just entering this thought space is a four-dimensional act. By understanding conceptually what we're discussing, you're expanding your cosmic consciousness. You're starting to understand different layers of reality, how they may be, because a lot of what we're discussing is from experience and from study, but nobody really has an exact, clear picture because it's subjective. A lot of it is largely subjective through experience.
Yeah. Until we get the alien as the third person in this video, like it's all theorem. Like
Yes. Because we all want proof so bad. We want to prove it to ourselves. We want to know. But as Krishnamurti taught, freedom from the known and freedom from belief is one of the things that can help us truly understand. Our beliefs can be limiting. Our need for proof, our need for things to exist in three-dimensional reality can limit us from conceptualizing different kinds of realities. Even if it seems hypothetical in nature, it's conceptually possible. And by thinking in this mindset, we can really expand our reality on this planet. That's why it's so important for us to be able to do that.
So I have endless gratitude for you, Sara, for anyone who's found this, and I hope this is the first of many discussions we will have on this topic. And when it comes time for mass disclosure on these things, I will happily open this up to any extra-planetary, extra-dimensional, or extra-planar entity that would like to join me and Sara in this discussion. Thank you. My email is in the description. Sara's links are in the description, and I hope you have a powerful day.